I see the killer in you. Do you see the killer in me? Every man is hardwired with a king, a lover, a magician, and a warrior. The DNA of the warrior is to serve the king, to protect the boundaries, and to kill if and when necessary in defense of the king, the kingdom, the self. Every man is hardwired to be a killer. That's the noble savage in us. Civilization, society, the culture, doesn't really want to see that part of you. Except when it's to their advantage to bring that up in you, to bring up your warrior, your killer, your defender of the boundaries, and the king and the kingdom. So when you become a soldier, you may come in to that military circus a nice boy. You may have never hurt anybody in your life. But those drill instructors, those trainers, they're going to bring up that killer in you. And you better hope they do, because they're going to drop your sorry ass in a combat zone. And you better hope that you can access that killer. And access it, and access it, and access it. Now, if you're lucky enough that warrior killer serves you in the military well, and you make it back home, you have a dilemma. You're in killer mode. You've been given permission to access that hardwired DNA part of you. But you know what? The killer, that warrior, is no longer welcome. You're back in the world. You're back on the street. You're going to feel it. You're going to know it. You're not welcome back. You're not reintegrated as a warrior. You're not held up as a great warrior king, a returning hero. No, you're just supposed to, get out of the military when your time's up, and quietly go off into the VA system, or go use the GI Bill and go to school. Just forget all that stuff that happened to you and your killer and your warrior. Forget about it. Forget about your brother killer warriors that are still over there or didn't make it back. You're back in the world, and your mother wants that nice boy back. And your girlfriend wants that sweet, generous boyfriend back. You know, the one that sent her flowers and gave her perfume and took her to dinner and wined and dined her and romanced her. You know, that guy. The hardwired in us, that's called the lover archetype. They like that archetype, the lover. Yeah, that's okay. Girlfriend likes the lover. Girlfriend doesn't like the warrior killer. Not welcome. Not welcome in mom's house, not welcome in girlfriend's house. Father sees it in you. He's nervous, because your father may have had to access his killer at some point. He understands. He understands that hardwired, noble, savage part of you, that reptilian brain part of you. He doesn't want to deal with it either, because he knows it better than the women. He sees it in you. He smells it in you. He sees it in your eyes, the way you carry yourself, the tension in your jaw, the distance in your stare. And if you're having trouble getting a job, it's 'cause nobody wants that warrior around. Nobody needs that warrior around. And you start getting that. And you try to turn that warrior off, and it's not easy to do that. You can't just turn that guy off. That's part of you. He got you back to the world. He saved your ass. So you're in a paradox with this hardwired friend of yours, this killer warrior. But it doesn't just simply resolve itself because he is not welcome. So you start to self-medicate. Drinking, drugging, sex, more sex, new girlfriend, marriage, divorce, affair, marriage, divorce, affair. And if you happen to stumble into a VA mental health clinic, then they're gonna drug you. They're gonna throw the pills at you. They're probably gonna be 4 or 5, and they're gonna use talk therapy or put you in some silly ass group. And half the men in that group are gonna say they got post-traumatic stress disorder that don't. But they're going to swear up and down that they've been traumatized. They got post-traumatic stress just like you have it. Post-traumatic stress is the unresolved warrior killer in you. That killer that keeps you up at night, walking the perimeter of your home, just like you were in a combat zone. That killer warrior in you makes you jump at night when you hear a cricket. That warrior killer in you is what keeps you hyper alert. It keeps you detached from people. It keeps you at a distance. It keeps you in the home. It's called agoraphobia. You don't want to leave the bunker. That killer warrior knows the world is a dangerous place. So you're going to stay home more. And you are going to sit with your back to the wall when you go to a restaurant. And you are going to survey every room that you go into when there's people there that you don't know. The killer warrior has emerged in you. And nobody knows what to do with him. Particularly back here in the world, in the civilization. Your options are limited. Keep on drugging, walking around like a zombie, having your sexuality turned off by psychotropic drugs, numbing you out that you don't feel anything, getting you addicted. So nothing works right. You're not clear-headed. You're unmotivated. You don't have your energy. Your life force is gone. So one day you just toss those pills. Try something else. You try finding some adrenaline rushes. Jump out of an airplane. Maybe you go become a surfer. Something where there's adrenaline, something where that warrior killer feels a little more comfortable and sitting at some desk in some monkey suit trying to please some bureaucrat boss, corporate boss, who has never accessed his warrior killer. He just is uncomfortable with you as everybody else, and pretty soon you're going to be gone. You're going to be fired. You're going to quit. You're going to be transferred, because they don't like that energy in you. They don't like that killer warrior in your eye. You make them uncomfortable. You make them nervous. Is it any shock that Vietnam veterans have been killing themselves for decades? Sometimes there's more suicide than there is combat wounds and combat deaths. We're really surprised. That's when the killer warrior says, you know, there is no place for me here, back in this quote, peaceful world. Now, some of these killer warriors become cops, security, and yet that's not a good place for the hardcore warrior killer who's used to military free fire zone rules. It doesn't work so good on the street. You can see that in me. My killer and I stay home a lot. My killer and I don't like crowds, don't like chaos, don't trust. We detach from others, keep our distance. What's needed, in my judgment, for the killer warrior is when he comes back, he goes to a special sacred place where other warrior killers are waiting. And they're embraced there. And they do work around this in a sacred circle, in a safe place, with other men who understand. Elder men, maybe, who are strong enough to hold the younger men in a circle, in a container. And hear their stories about their killer warrior, and hear their stories about war, and hear their needs. What do you need now, killer warrior soldier? What do you need? How can we honor you, bless you, hold you up, give you silence so you can speak and be heard and your story can be told? There needs to be a place like that. And that place needs to be there for everybody that comes back with their warrior killer online. And they need to stay in that place until they're ready to come back. Until that killer warrior that psyche of yours has been shifted and managed and calmed and given what it needs. The killer warrior needs something from us besides rejection, denial, suppression, repression, rejection, avoidance, shunning. Robert Bly, a famous American poet and founder of the men's movement of the 80s and 90s, said something that resonates with me. He said, men do not truly transform themselves except in sacred space, in ritual space, in ceremonial space. I believe that's true. It's my judgment that's true. Over and out.